Now, our team is all over the story. In Johannesburg, we have reporters Samkelo Maseko and Moloko Moloto. Sipamandla Goge is in Pietermaritzburg, and Lindsay Dentlinger is in Cape Town. Sam, let's start with you. The DA, of course, having to find an interim leader. When will that happen?
It looks like that's going to happen on the 17th of November. They're going to look for an interim leader and an interim federal chairperson, which is the position that was held by Athol Trollip, who has also left the leadership of the Democratic Alliance with Mmusi Maimane. And interestingly, Athol Trollip has not left the party. He's just left the leadership position. Mmusi Maimane has served the DA with divorce papers, but the party is steaming ahead to find his replacement. There's no love lost between him and Zille. Let's just listen to Helen Zille saying they're convening an urgent federal council to find Maimane's replacement.
The federal executive met this morning by teleconference, and we decided that we would hold an urgent federal council, which has been set for the 17th of November, at which we will elect an interim federal chairperson and an interim federal leader to prepare for the Federal Congress, which will be held about April next year. So those were the decisions, those are the processes, and that is the way forward.
Stay tuned. We'll get more from what Helen Zille had to say to us a short while ago from Samkelo. But let's go to Sipamandla now. The fallout in KwaZulu-Natal has seen many DA members join the ANC. They, of course, not happy with Mmusi Maimane resigning.
Well, basically 8 of them were announced by the ANC today as having defected to the ANC. They include a local councillor in Pietermaritzburg, Umsunduzi municipality, as well as a former youth leader in the province. But the DA in the province has said, listen, this is good riddance. These people resigned months ago. It says it's surprised why they were unveiled today by the ANC. But right now we are joined by the leader of the DA in KwaZulu-Natal, Zwakele Mncwango. Thank you very much for your time. First of all, your reaction. Some of your former members have joined the ANC. Are you surprised?
Look, I'm not surprised. For me, these are just ordinary members of the public. I'll justify why I'm saying that. One of them resigned from the DA on the 15th of April 2019. Now, a few months later, that person joined the ANC. And I can also say that person is currently holding a position in the ANC branch. So you can't say your member, who's an ANC member, is a DA member. It's really strange. But also, what is happening also is the fact that the former youth leader resigned from the DA on the 30th of May. Again, that person can't be called a DA member. But also, you've got a former councillor who resigned on the 17th of October after we served her with charges. So basically all of them are no more DA members. So the ANC is just trying to do a marketing strategy. I thought they can be bigger than that, but it shows that they are so desperate in KZN to gain members.
Your former allies are gone. Mmusi Maimane, Athol Trollip, Herman Mashaba. Are you going or staying?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not a member of a member. I joined the DA based on its principles and values, and those values have not changed. We adopted values of the DA in 2018, and the former leader was a leader of a DA then, and to date, nothing has changed. We haven't went to a policy conference or the Congress where one can say a lot of things are changing in the DA. Nothing.
Were you surprised by his departure, though? We are told that you tried to persuade Maimane to stay.
Look, I was surprised. I must say I respect the leader. I do respect him. I think he did make a huge contribution to this organization and the country. And I think the role he played in Parliament, the role he played as a leader, he was a hard worker. He worked very hard for the DA on the ground during campaigns. I worked with him very closely. And I think as a DA, we lost a member in Maimane. But end of the day, I'm not saying I believe everything he said. I believe the DA is still a vehicle that can take the South Africa forward, not only DA, but I think we can unite South Africans.
Okay, Babu, we're out of time. Thank you very much for your time. That is Zwakele Mncwango, who is the provincial leader of the DA in KwaZulu-Natal, saying he's not going anywhere. There has been speculation about his future, especially since his party in KwaZulu-Natal lost the official status of being the official opposition after the elections.
So let's go now to Lindsay Dentlinger in Cape Town. And Mmusi Maimane's decision to quit has automatically led to John Steenhuisen's departure as chief whip. The party's parliamentary caucus, Lindsay, is also in a mess.
Yes, Shahan, as you point out there, he didn't resign. He essentially lost his job as chief whip. But I must add, they say a day is a long time in politics, but just a few hours has been a long time in politics, and things have developed fairly quickly. And I don't think all is lost for John Steenhuisen quite yet. I spoke to several people this afternoon, and I'm reliably informed that the nomination for him to take over from Mmusi Maimane is already signed. The process is moving pretty quickly in Parliament. Those nominations close tomorrow. So John Steenhuisen certainly not a crestfallen man this evening. He is disappointed that Mmusi Maimane left. He said that they still remained great friends, and that it was the greatest honour of his life that Mmusi Maimane had chosen him not once but twice to be the chief whip. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Let me first of all say that I want to pay tribute to Mr. Maimane and thank him for his leadership here in Parliament, and thank you for appointing me as the chief whip, because it has been my greatest honour of my life to serve both him and this caucus here in Parliament. I'm very proud of the caucus that I've been part of, and I absolutely believe that the work that we do here is the bedrock of building the alternative in South Africa. And we're going to continue doing that. It doesn't matter whether I'm sitting in the chief whip's bench or whether I'm sitting on the back bench. I believe that we have to build a strong alternative in South Africa, that there needs to be a strong opposition to the ANC here in Parliament, and we will continue to do that. And certainly not going to be held back by the recent events. I disagree with Mr. Maimane that the DA is not the vehicle for change. I believe it is the only viable vehicle for change in South Africa.
Maloko, you of course been getting reaction from other political parties about what now can be called a crumbling DA. What are they saying about how this will affect their coalition agreements?
Well, that is very true. In fact, very interestingly, we hear this KZN DA leaders dismissing all those people who joined the ANC as just ordinary members. In fact, we understand that in Northern Cape, there is one member of the provincial legislature, Tumelo Babu, he's saying that he's going to resign from the DA on Monday. And of course, political parties that we spoke to, for instance, the FF Plus, who are in a coalition government with the DA in a few municipalities here in Joburg as well as in Tshwane, and also the IFP. All of them are saying really the developments in the DA are not necessarily going to, at this point in time, affect or have any negative impact on the arrangement that they have with the Democratic Alliance. But let's listen to Connie Melda from the FF Plus as well as Mkhuneko Hlengwa from the IFP.
Well, I think that's a huge shock in terms of the parliamentary system here. Mr. Maimane served as leader of the official opposition. It's a huge blow to the Democratic Alliance as the official opposition, and the ramifications will go far and wide. It's interesting and it's ironic for me that when Ms. Zille was nominated to this post before the weekend, she made it very clear that it will not cause any division within the party. But look what happened. Exactly the opposite happened. The Democratic Alliance is clearly imploding at the moment. And to be fair and honest, I don't think that's in the best interest of our democracy.
We have found him to be a very cordial and very civil South African who has understood that our mission really is about the people of South Africa. He has been a gentleman and he has had an open door policy which has enabled us to interact with him to have. And of course, we have also had that kind of open door policy. We wish that DA strength and wisdom during these very difficult times as they wade through the challenges which they are going through, because the kind of leadership changes and instability they are going through are not unique to the DA. So it would be very foolhardy of us to gloat or to view them with a sense of glee, and particularly because we are in the project of multi-party democracy, and of course we are cooperating with the DA in quite a number of municipalities. So to that extent we have got a vested interest to see the DA manage their affairs in a manner which will not threaten the kind of work that we are doing.
All right, stand by for that interview with Helen Zille in a moment. But first, Lindsay also spoke to the DA Parliamentary Caucus leader. What's she saying?
Yes, Shahan, as I said earlier, things moved pretty quickly from the time we spoke to her at what was a very shortened caucus meeting this morning, given the fact that there was no chief whip anymore effectively in place to give a report. And in just a few hours, they have already opened nominations. By the way the Constitution works, that should actually take a week. There was a request in that caucus for it to be brought forward till Tuesday. Those nominations, as I said, will already close tomorrow, and as I understand, nominations are already being submitted, and so we should know by the end of business tomorrow who's throwing their hat into the ring. But Annelie Lottridge, she is now technically in charge of that parliamentary caucus until such time as an interim leader is elected, and this is how she explained how the process will unfold.
Caucus rules state that we will have to have an election at our first ordinary meeting, which will be next Thursday. And we also have to give a 7-day notice so that people can be nominated for the positions, allow them time for some canvassing. However, there was a request tabled today that we do that next Tuesday. I will therefore have to get the permission from the Federal Executive whether we can in fact waive the 7-day notice period. I will be doing that today, and if it is not approved, it will go ahead next Thursday, otherwise Tuesday.
Now, I've been teasing everyone with this Helen Zille interview. So, Mkele, I'll bring you back into the mix here. She still has good things to say about Mmusi Maimane.
Indeed, she still has good things to say about Mmusi Maimane. She was going on about how she is very happy and glorifies him for the step of instituting a review panel into the performance of the Democratic Alliance and going ahead with the implementation of the recommendations till the very end, which ultimately led to him resigning as the leader of the party. But interestingly, she wouldn't be drawn to Mmusi Maimane dumping the party, which she helped Mmusi Maimane to be installed as the leader of the party in 2015. Let's just listen to this interview, which was done by our colleague Lindsay Dentlinger in Cape Town.
I want to wish Mmusi nothing but the best. He put in an enormous effort for the DA and for South Africa. He had the enormous courage to appoint an independent review committee to analyse where we had gone wrong. And he had the courage to follow through on the recommendations. And I don't think there is another party on the African continent that takes accountability as seriously as the Democratic Alliance. And I pay tribute.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Our reporters Mmusi Maimane and Mmusi Maimane in Johannesburg. Lindsay Dentlinger is in Cape Town, and Sipamandla Goge in Pietermaritzburg.